Okay, hello again. We're picking up where we left off last time, which is about fear. And we were discussing about as long as your focus, totally your attention is on the blooming of that, what we call fear, there wouldn't be fear. And as soon as you leave that, you don't stay with the creation of that, what we call fear, what you call fear, and you leave that, you allow thought to take over by distracting you from the happening of the actuality of that what is happening, which we call fear, then the thought starts making up things on the basis of what only it knows, which is the content of consciousness based on the previous experiences and so on and so forth. If he knows what fear was, which he does according to whatever happened in the past and called it fear, it identifies this, what's happening now, to that, and then perceives what is happening. It is rather than what it really is, the actuality of what is happening. So he leaves that and starts perceiving on it. Why? Because thought is stupid. Unlike what we think, thought is thought because it comes from credible thought. There must be something to it. There must be a substance. No, thought is stupid. Thought is like Pokemons. Pokemons are not trained. Remember that game? You had to get them and train them to behave and do certain things. So thought is not trained. It's stupid. It doesn't have an understanding of what actuality is. Because it doesn't have the understanding of that, it goes and makes up things about it. Why doesn't it have understanding of it? Because its knowledge is based on a limited content of consciousness. And because the consciousness itself is limited knowledge in it, thought being operating in the field of consciousness, therefore it has access to limited knowledge. Its limited knowledge cannot understand what is happening, therefore it's ADD, it goes somewhere else because it doesn't understand what's happening. It only understands what had happened, what did happen, and that he tries to use that to explain this. Therefore, don't give it that chance. Stay focused and attended, fully attention on what's happening, so thought will not have a chance to try to interpret it for you. It will just learn, teaching it, keeping it there, say, shut up, and I'm going to put new information for you to understand. And next time when something called fear happens, you will go into this information that I'm putting it now. And then based on this, you will not be fearful. You will not make me fearful of it. So thought is stupid. Its knowledge is limited. It doesn't have an ability to understand what is happening that for the first time. It only tries to associate it with something before. So its knowledge is limited, its understanding is limited, so it wanders off to what it can understand, which is the perception of what is happening based on its own experiences and what's available in the consciousness. So really, this is what thought does. It wanders around, bubbles up here, bubbles up there, and doesn't really have any proper behavior to follow certain things. That's why you need to teach it. That's what the ability of thought is, which is always trying to perceive things rather than observe things. And when that happens, when you allow your attention to go where the thought is trying to take your attention away to the perception of what it wants you to look at instead of the reality, then division happens. Division between you and what is happening. Not division in the distance, division in the actuality of being there, observing what is happening. Then you go away from where the thought is trying to take you to the perception of what it thinks is happening, and therefore a division happens. Division of time happens, because thought is now taking you in the past based on its information which comes from the past. It perceives what is happening now, and that perception is based on the information in the past. So then thought is now in the past, which is thought is you, and you are in the past. Therefore, you are in the past, but that happening is now. Therefore, there's a time difference now between you and that's what's happening. There's a distance. That's the division. That's when you're not with what you're observing. The observer, you, and the observed become separated. And that's when you're not there anymore. You're in a different time. That's why you're not living in the presence. You're living in the past. Or the thought has gone and worried about what's going to happen in the future, so you're not there again as it's happening. You're in a future perception of things, future illusion. So you got to understand, you can't believe your thought. You can't allow your thought to give reality of its own perception of what is happening, which is its perception based on the past. Give reality to that and make you think that that is a reality. Now this, because to thought, what is in the memory is the reality. And he wants you to think that is the reality. So it goes in there, and according to what is there, that's the only information that he has. His knowledge is limited. So it can only perceive this, what is here, based on what's in there, which is all in the past, which is incomplete knowledge, limited knowledge. So its understanding of this is limited, and it cannot stay because it can't understand it. It can't understand it, it goes away. It goes away to what it can understand, which is based on the information in the past, which is illusions, doesn't exist, and throws us off after what the reality is and what the real coordination and harmony with life is all about, which is what is blooming, what is happening at the present. So pretty much, I guess that's all I can remember what I wanted to share with you about this. If I could remember, so I think I may have had some of the things to add to it, but perhaps we can simply add to the fact that as long as you're staying with that, what is called fear it will not create, because you're totally focused on the ingredient that is in play, and there is enough knowledge while you're focusing on that. Therefore, when there is knowledge, there is security, there is awareness, there is nothing ambiguous to be afraid of, because you're dealing with whatever is happening. You're analyzing it, you're seeing it, you're observing it. You're not analyzing, because you analyze means you go to the past. You're observing it as it is, you're understanding it as it is, you're aware of as it is. Therefore, there's nothing to fear about, because its knowledge is what it is, not an incomplete knowledge of what it is based on perception of your thought, based on its information that comes from the past experiences, which is incomplete, cannot translate or interpret what is happening here, because this is happening here is new. And that what is trying to perceive this is based on the old. Therefore, you don't want to pay attention to what thought is saying. You want to pay attention to what you're observing and stay with the observation, which gives you the full information. From the information, the knowledge, and from knowledge, security and safety, and then no fear. Hope that it would help you to have a little better understanding of how this thing works. Just remember, your thoughts are illusions. They're stupid. Thoughts are not true. Often it's dumb, so it creates things, it makes up things. That's his job, to make up things, to exaggerate things, create things, and if it doesn't understand, it creates things. And what it understands, it doesn't exist. It's an illusion. It's from the past. So all its perception and so on are based on old information. So you can't really trust what it thinks. You gotta use your own super consciousness. Ooh, that's another thing. your own way of weighing the information and the knowledge and see which time zone you are, on which time zone you're really understanding, you're aware. Are you present, aware of the present, or you think you're aware of the present, but it's a perception of the past, which means you're not aware of the present, you're aware of something that the thought wants you think it's the actuality and it's reality, which is coming from the past information, which it cannot be reality, so it's just creating that havoc and confusion. Don't be confused. That's all I want to say. Have a nice time. Hope to talk to you soon if I have some other things about fear to add to this collection.